Each of the masks in Zelda Majora's Mask had their own unique uses, and even though some were more useful than others, they all played a role in Link's journey. But how useful would these masks be in real life if you woke up tomorrow and had them in your possession? Would the most useful masks in the game actually help you the most in your day-to-day life as well? I divided all of Link's wearable masks into categories based on their usefulness. So let's start with the masks in the actively sucks category, which are masks that would actually make your life worse for having them. Let's get this out of the way. The 3 masks that transform you into a different species are all going in this category. Even in a magical game world, these transformations look horrifically painful. Can you imagine how agonizing it would be to feel all of your bones and muscles shifting and stretching in real life? And even if you manage to not pass out from the excruciating pain, good luck hiding from the hordes of scientists and researchers that would want to use you as a guinea pig for the rest of your life. People don't react that way to your new forms in the Zelda universe because those species already exist. But if any human sees you as a giant rock monster, walking fish, or living hazelnut, you're fucked. And to be clear, if we separated out this level even more, the Deku mask would be at the bottom of the 3, definitely. As a Goron, you can roll super fast and have built-in plated armor. As a Zora, you can swim super gracefully. And as a Deku scrub, you can hop across the water 5 times before drowning. And sure, that might be useful if you want to get across some water without getting wet, but I can't think of an instance where you would need to get across a body of water that is 5 hops long where you can't just go around. That's a puddle, maybe a pool. Where are you going? Being able to float short distances via flower petals does not make up for all the hardships here. And you can't puddle jump away from the scientists forever. So the transformation masks just don't make any sense and are too irrationally painful to justify. We also don't know the long-term health effects from repeatedly turning back into a human. The risk is too great. Another mask that would actively suck to have is the blast mask, which is a bomb for your face. Its literal only purpose is to explode. And while that might just hurt Link a little, a bomb going off in your face means you're cooked. A shield ain't gonna help you here. And it's a risk just to have around. Like, I've got a pretty messy room, and the thought of forgetting where I put my bomb mask and not knowing where it is? You know when you find a Lego by stepping on it? Imagine. The Mask of Sense is another one that maybe sounds better in theory than in practice. Now, the item description says that it heightens your sense of smell in general. And can I be honest? I would rather opt out of that superpower. Because when I think about it, if I smell something good, like a flower or barbecue, I'm like, oh wow, that's a really nice smell. But I don't particularly want to smell it 8 times stronger. And when I smell something bad, I definitely don't want more of that, so I'll pass on the olfactory multiplier. The other more specific thing it allows you to do in-game is see the scent trail of magic mushrooms, which I guess does have a real-world equivalent. There are really only 2 reasons you would want to know where shrooms are at any given point. And that's if you're looking to acquire some, in which case you still have to buy them, otherwise it's stealing. Like what, you're just gonna snuffle up to someone's back pocket and they're gonna think you're chill enough to offer free shrooms to? No, you're gonna look like a snuffling pervert. And the only other reason you want to know where shrooms are is if you're a cop looking to bust someone. Oh my god, it's a pig mask. Damn, Zelda, I didn't know it was like that. Anyway, I'll keep my human schnoz. The Gibdo mask makes it possible to talk to Gibdos, which will equate to mummies in the real world, and also makes them not attack you. First of all, if mummies are attacking you in your day-to-day life, you have bigger problems. But also, the game shows us that all mummies want are to ask you for shit in the form of a riddle, so congratulations, now you're stuck on an endless fetch quest for people's dead relatives. The other thing this mask does is make re-deads dance, and I shouldn't have to tell you not to force corpses to do fautés. The Gyro's mask is another one that would cause corpses to Dougie, but its other feature is that Gyros appear thinking Link is their leader, only to fight him when they realize he's not. So depending on your belief in the paranormal, this mask either just makes the dead dance, or causes you to have impromptu ghost fights throughout your day. And I can already hear someone saying, oh, that'd be so cool. No, it would not. This would be a good time to come right on back down to earth, because number 1, no, you do not actually want to fight a ghost. Stop trying to be the main character. And number 2, you're most definitely not winning a boxing match against a ghost. And aside from any of that, it's most definitely not useful, which is the scale that we're grading these on. I could see all your little heads start to drift into the clouds, and I'm here to lasso them right back down. So these are all the masks on the actively sucks tier. Now we go 1 tier up to using this would be immoral. Like the name implies, these masks wouldn't necessarily make your life worse in an immediate sense, but you'd better take a long hard look at yourself in a mirror before using any of these. The first is the Captain's Hat, which in the game allows you to talk to and instruct stall children. Now, if we equate stall children with real-world skeletons, it would not only be horrendously immoral to conduct an army of people's long-dead relatives, but probably not even that great considering actual skeletons are not going to be very good at fighting. They'd be brittle as hell. And actually, it probably wouldn't even work considering nothing holds real-life skeletons together. Either way, if your instinct is to walk around with an army of skeletons, even if just for show, you've got a real big villain vibe going on. But honestly, I don't even think we should equate stall children with skeletons, since they're specifically dead warriors of the Icona royal family, which doesn't exist in real life. So that would normally just make it a super disgusting, useless hat, but it also makes corpses dance, so it's going under the immoral category regardless. Then there's the postman's hat, which would allow you to check the mail, which in-game translates to getting rupees from mailboxes. Are you really gonna steal some poor little girl's birthday money? Do you really want to see Nana's get well soon card that badly? Why do you want to go through people's mail? There's never been an instance where I've been like, dang, wish I could check someone else's mail. And that's on minding your business, nosy. Finally, in this category, we have the circus/troop leader's mask. This one's complicated because it's used to alter specifically the Gorman brothers' emotions. Now, I'm open to the possibility that maybe there exists in the real world a person who looks nearly identical to this whose last name is Gorman. But even if that's the case, changing their emotions on command feels immoral to me. And can you imagine how much that would just fuck them up mentally? You're just chilling, maybe going grocery shopping, and someone runs up to you with a mask that looks identical to you and you get an overwhelming feeling of sadness before they run off, never to be seen again? You can't do that to a person, even if it gets you milk. So those are our masks that would be immoral to use. Next up, we have the you will not use this tier. These masks don't suck, but they're not really beneficial to have either. More decoration than anything. The first one is Cafe's mask, and its only purpose is to inquire if someone's seen Cafe. Spoiler alert, everyone you ask this to in real life will say no. And there's literally no difference between wearing this to ask and just showing them a photo of Cafe and asking if they've seen him. Except potentially scaring the crap out of them if you sneak up on them. I mean, scratch that, I would be terrified even if you slowly approached me from the front with this mask on. The Keaton mask would be another useless one, as Keatons don't exist in the real world. Yeah, no, I'm not gonna entertain shapeshifting Kitsune being real either. If you want someone to ask you questions for a prize, then go to bar trivia. It's easier than finding moving bushes anyway. Same deal with the Great Fairy mask. Its only purpose is to attract stray fairies, which don't exist. And I'd say it'd be a great accessory if you want to do drag, but honestly, no. Imagine trying to dance with this on, get so sweaty. It's still just a cumbersome, uncanny valley mask in the end. The Romani's mask allows Link to get into the members-only milk bar in the game, also known as Latte. Milk bars exist in other Zelda games as well, and are basically a family-friendly replacement for a bar that serves alcohol. But if you think that translates to a free pass into any bar in the real world, no. You can get into any of the 12 real-life milk bar locations, which is a store that sells sweets, which you also fully don't need a cow mask to get into. So really, you'd just be wearing the cow mask for shits and giggles. And if you actually wanted to wear a cow mask into a milk bar store, I have great news for you. Dreams can come true. Otherwise, it's pretty useless. Speaking of, the Giant's mask is almost as useless in the game as it would be in real life. Even the in-game description is like, can we use it, or... And there is exactly one use for it. To grow into a giant to battle Twin Mold in the Stone Tower Temple. That is the only time it works. And you are not going to be battling Twin Mold in the Stone Tower Temple. You have Pilates class at that time. I will say it looked great as a nice decorative piece though. Finally, we have the Fierce Deity mask. And this one doesn't seem as bone-snapping as the others since Link keeps the same basic form as the Fierce Deity, but it can only be used in boss rooms to turn Link into a sort of dark god with enhanced damage. Now yes, technically boss rooms exist in real life, but before you go getting all main character on me again, no, you are not going into your boss's office to kill them with supernatural powers. Stop it. You would still get charged for murder and thrown in jail. And then experimented on by scientists. Jail scientists, which are way worse by the way. And in the 3D version, you can put it on in fishing holes as well, but don't ruin the chill fishing vibe by becoming a dark god, man. Just leave it at home. In fact, here are all the masks you can leave at home because you will not use them. Going one tier higher, we have, fine. For instance, the Dongero mask is used to speak to frogs. I'm not sure exactly how useful it is to talk to frogs, or what sort of things frogs think about. My guess is their thoughts would sound like, food, predator, mate. But okay, that's fine. To be honest, I don't see frogs very often in my day-to-day life. I live in Los Angeles, so they're not exactly using the crosswalks. The other thing is that the main use of this mask in the game is to unite 5 frogs to make the frog choir, because the mask looks like Don Gero, conductor of the frog choir. But that "the" does a lot of heavy lifting in that sentence. It sounds like the frog choir is already established and that you couldn't just get a bunch of random frogs together to sing. And once again, I must bring us back to the fact that we are looking at day-to-day real-life usage. I barely see and have no real need to talk to frogs, unless frogs are very good at doing taxes. This mask is fine. Next we have the couple's mask, which in the game is used to stop the fighting in the mayor's house and might have the power to calm arguments according to a gossip stone, but that might just be a hint at what you're supposed to do with the mask in-game. I say this because the Legend of Zelda Encyclopedia only says that it will end the bickering in the mayor's residence, the in-game description just says it's filled with their love, and other characters in the game only react to the mask by saying, "Oh, someone you know got married, huh?" So in real life, it would be like something that would indicate that you recently attended a wedding, which we don't really have an equivalent of, but maybe it'd be like the bridesmaids wearing sashes at a bachelorette party. I will say that if we go literal with the encyclopedia, you could theoretically go to any mayor's house and end some arguments there, but like, is that really how you want to spend your day? So those are masks. Our second to highest tier is for masks that are useful under very specific circumstances. For instance, Kamaro's mask, which would let Link, and in turn you, do this one very specific dance. To be clear, this does not make you magically able to dance in general. You get this one, but you're really good at it. The main benefit of this one would be the virality potential it has. And this has actually fully been proven recently, as YouTuber Tan Gem went viral for recreating the dance. And it does, in fact, look awesome. So you get that dance trending on TikTok and you're the best at it, you can milk that cash cow for about a year or so, going on talk shows and doing it at the Tonys or whatever. However, you would have to accept your fate that that is what you would forever be known for, and would be asked to do it like a trick pony for the rest of your life. But hey, it's a good dance. As cute as it may seem to lead a parade of tiny chicks around, and truly the chicks in Majora's Mask are so cute I want to die, the Bremen mask almost landed itself in the immoral tier, seeing as causing those chicks to instantly age teeters on the edge of playing God. But what saved it and landed it in this tier instead is that it also allows some other small animals to parade around behind you. So if you want to lead a small dog parade every once in a blue moon, fine. If you want to turn chicks into chickens, your sins are observed and noted. Finally, we have the Mask of Truth. The Mask of Truth allows you to hear gossip stones, which don't exist in the real world, and supposedly hear the thoughts of animals, but this doesn't actually seem to be the case in the game. You can't hear the thoughts of cows with it, you can't hear the thoughts of cuckoos with it, you can't hear the thoughts of your horse with it, so really all that we have proof of is that you can hear the thoughts of dogs if you pick them up, which would be really useful if you were a vet, but again, I don't know exactly how useful a real dog's thoughts are. I don't think they're gonna be like, ugh, my fibula's killing me. I don't know if dogs have fibulas. I also think we're already tiptoeing too far into the waters in real life. Why, existence? Hurt. Also, some might be thinking, doesn't the Mask of Truth also allow you to hear people's thoughts? And that is a definition in other games, but I'm opting to only stick to what all the masks do in Majora's Mask in its 3D remake. And speaking of, in the 3D version, apparently it'll also cause hidden grottos to glow, which I can't find any footage of. But hey, if you're someone who just can't get enough grottos in your life, seems fine. These are your useful in very specific circumstances masks. Finally, the cream of the crop. The mask that would be extremely useful in the real world. Perhaps a controversial take, but my first mask that goes under this category is the all-night mask. The all-night mask is a mask that keeps you awake no matter what, and in the game is used to stay awake through Andrew's grandmother's stories, which, might I say, aren't even that boring. And she certainly doesn't speak in the sort of dulcet tones that might lull one off to sleep. So I'm gonna chalk this one up to either that insanely cozy fire or the sleep demons on the wall. Regardless, the perks of being able to stay up and get stuff done are obvious. Now don't get me wrong, sleep is very important for your overall health and this would be a sometimes food. But we've all been in a place now and again where you suddenly want to take an extremely inconvenient midday nap that would throw off your whole schedule, or you have some extra work that's due tomorrow that you could really use the midnight hours to get done, and this would be super convenient for that. The controversial part comes in because it's likely not very pleasant to use. It's It's a little fuzzy though, because the different definitions make it unclear whether you don't get sleepy when you use it or whether you absolutely stay sleepy, you're just forced to stay awake. The inventory description says it stops you from falling asleep even if you badly want to, and that it was made for torture, which seems pretty cut and dry. Hey, Editing Anna here. So this is actually the description for the 3D version. The original inventory description is actually, you don't get sleepy. Wish I'd caught that pre-edit, and I still think it's odd due to what I say next, but it doesn't really matter since it would have gone in this tier either way. Just wanted to point it out. Okay, back to the video. Thanks for watching. Subscribe. But the shop description is you won't get sleepy if you wear this mask, which is different and awesome. Then the Legend of Zelda Encyclopedia just says keeps the wearer awake, which could go either way. And then the description when you acquire the mask says it won't let you drift off to sleep even if you want to. All in all, I lean towards this mask keeping you awake even though you're still sleepy, since the torture scenario and the inclusion of even if you want to in a couple of the definitions imply the mask resisting sleepiness. Plus, there wouldn't be a reason to wear the mask if you weren't sleepy. So if that's the case, would it suck to still be sleepy while you wore it? Yes. But I also see it more as an act of desperation thing than a regular use thing. And still more useful than the other masks on this list. But really, get your sleep, kids. Another insanely useful and much less controversial mask would be the bunny hood. Are you kidding? You run faster and jump farther and you get to look adorable? Now granted, the amount of running and jumping I do in my life is the absolute bare minimum that I can manage. But if I'm late to something, you bet I'm throwing on that hood before I'm out the door. I see very little downside as far as this one goes. Finally, we have the stone mask, which allows you to become pretty much completely unnoticeable. An introvert's dream. Do you know how much more often I would go touch grass if I was guaranteed that I wouldn't be perceived while doing so? I wouldn't even really want to use it for nefarious purposes. I just don't really want to make small talk when I'm out and about. It would also take away a ton of social stress too. Like if I go to a park and it's super crowded, I feel so uncomfy setting up a picnic blanket within even like 20 feet of someone. But if they had no idea I was there, I could park myself right next to them and chill out knowing there was no awkwardness. I probably wouldn't, but I could. Now I do think you'd have to be a little bit careful with when and how you use this. Like, I don't think it'd be a good idea to take it off in front of people, and I don't know whether or not the things that you touch would also turn invisible. Like if you were using a grocery cart or something. You can make the case that it would be invisible as long as you kept contact with it, since in the game the weapons you use don't get seen either. But even if you're grocery shopping, you'd probably want to take your hands off the cart every once in a while, which to other people would look like the cart just appearing and disappearing. And when the items inside the cart be invisible too, it's all very questionable. But regardless, I could see myself using this in my everyday life. So those are the official rankings for how useful each of the wearable masks from Majora's Mask would be in real life. If you could only own one, which would you pick? I look forward to hearing your decision. And now I'm off to imagine myself frolicking freely in the bunny hood while not actually moving a muscle in real life. Bye!
Goombanna is the one to watch, she didn't come to play. Gaming vids that'll make you laugh and think and put them on replay. Intelligent, kind of funny, her community's #1. Stick around and kick your feet up. Goombanna has just begun.